question people like to ask: what is the best video game of all time? I've got one answer for you.
Resident Evil
Now,
4.
Adam, Psycho, why do you consider Resident Evil 4 the best game of all time? Let me tell you this. Okay, so Resident Evil 4 released in 2004, and the amount of quality of life improvements I have seen from Resident Evil 3 to Resident Evil 4, magnificent. And if it says anything in itself, this game, as you can see, was re-released for Xbox One, re-released for PS4, re-released for pretty much all the consoles except for the Series X and Series 5, but it still works in the Series X. And this game continues to be talked about to this day. Like, the amount of memes and everything I have seen,
What are you buying?
bro? Just everything from the game is still talked about to this day. And why? What about it makes it so special? So, you play as Leon Kennedy,
No thanks,
who wasn't
bro.
seen since the second Resident Evil game. Well, Claire, but I mean, you don't need to talk about Claire. Anyways, he goes to find the U.S. president's daughter because he works for the government. And then the village that's where she's at doesn't seem to be all there, per se. And he comes to find out there's a disease, per se, or like a parasite called Las Plagas that's infected the entire town because of one guy, Sadler. Really Sadler and Salazar. But anyways, we'll get more into that later. So near the end of the game, he finally finds Sadler, he defeats him. Along the way, he encounters Salazar, like I mentioned. He also encounters his former trainer, Krauser, and he encounters Ada, who I saw in Resident Evil 2 as well. And eventually he gets off the island after like numerous getting her, losing her, getting her, losing her. You know how video games are. And let me tell you, some of the stuff you do during this game is so much fun. The boss fights, in my opinion, are a lot of fun. When you fight the village chief, when you fight Sadler, when you fight El Gigante, all of it, like, in my opinion, there's not a bad thing about this game, I would say. Because it's just the amount of replayability in this game you have not seen in any other game ever before. And to me, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. If a game that was released in 2004, that was 21 years old now, can still be played to this day and still be enjoyed and not have microtransactions in every freaking game is nowadays. And that's another thing I thought, is there is a merchant in the game, but everything you get in the game is earned. It's not pay to win, it is earned. So there's a lot of stuff like the laser gun that can kill every Las Plagas enemy in one hit. There's also the Tommy gun, which essentially does the same thing because once you upgrade it, it's so powerful. I mean, all the shotguns, pistols, and everything. Not to mention, there's even like all the upgrades that you have to do for the guns, and there's the healing items. There's just a lot of different stuff you can buy in the merchant shop to make you survive one. And one more thing I want to talk about is the fact that not only do you have the main game, which that in itself is I've replayed over and over. I don't know how many times I've beaten this game now, but you also have the Mercenaries mode. Mercenaries mode is just like kind of like a survival thing where you have a certain amount of time. You have like 3 minutes, I believe, and the clock ticks. You have to get as much kills as you can, get a certain amount of points to get the right amount of stars. And you start out as Leon. You also play as 3 other characters. You play 4 other characters. You play as Krauser. You play as Ada. You play as Hunk from Resident Evil 2. You also play as Wesker, which is Batman in Mercenaries mode. Oh, he's OP. I'll tell you that much. But this game, man, I look at it. Look at it in all its glory. Even in the back too. There's not one bad thing about this game, I would say. It's the perfect game. Now, if I had to say one thing, which I know it's a lot for a 2004 game, I wish it was co-op. Because making a co-op would, the amount of hilarious moments I would have with my friends on this game would be unimaginable. But, I mean, while, yes, Resident Evil 5 did bring co-op in later, the story wasn't as good. In my opinion, that game is only fun if you're playing by myself, it's tough. And we don't talk about Resident Evil 6, not really.
Shut the fuck up, Chris.
But this, however, not awful. In my opinion, it's perfect. And the remake, too. That's another thing, too, is, I mean, granted, a lot of other games before have also been this, but that speaks volumes for a game if it's getting remade in 2023. Yeah, 2023. And in my opinion, the remake is also really good. But it's just for me, nostalgia's sake, this game cannot be topped, in my opinion. It's going to take a lot for this game to be topped in my favorite game of all time. So, there you have it. Resident Evil 4. It's pretty good. Give it a shot.